You know what the crazy thing is? I thought about not doing the recap. I really did think about not doing the recap, but I just thought about it. I said, you know what? We put so much energy into reviewing these guys, talking about our favorite players. I put out a tweet saying who I wanted to see, what I wanted to see in this game, and I did get a lot of that. And again, we knew it wasn't going to be the starters. A lot more starters sat than I thought would sit. And but despite that, I think, that first half was some good football, especially on the defensive side for the New York Giants, man. What else can I say? We started off sharp. Timon Fox gets the pressure off the edge, disrupts the pass. Jason Pinnock gets his interception on the very first play of the game. And if you look at that play too, funny thing is that if Pinnock is not there to make the play, it looks like Trey Hawkins actually might have got that interception as well. It was a badly thrown ball. Obviously, it was disrupted because of the pressure from Timon Fox. And I just want to talk about a couple of players, in this preseason. Some good, some bad, and some absolutely ugly. So I'm just going to point out some of the good. I like what I saw with Jason Pinnock, not just on the interception, but also off of a blitz, supporting the run game. Jason Pinnock was all over the place, making plays, being disruptive, and makes me really think that he solidified that spot as far as being the safety next to Xavier McKinney. The funny thing is that this morning I thought that, or prior to the game, I thought that, Dane Belton and Pinnock will both be starting at safety, and it ended up being Bobby McCain that started, and then Belton got some reps. And I think the competition is still a competition, but right now, like I said in the previous video, I think it's Jason Pinnock's job to lose at this point. Even though Dane Belton had some good plays as well, he also got himself an interception in this game. I just think that right now Pinnock has been the most consistent, and barring any outstanding play by Dane Belton, I think we start the year with Jason Pinnock. I just really believe that, and we'll see what happens next week during the live rehearsal against the Carolina Panthers. Timon Fox again, he was able to get a couple good rushes, also able to set the edge pretty well. He made a couple of plays. I was very, very impressed with Jordan Riley. Jordan Riley, 6'5", 330 pounds, and he was very stout. Jordan Riley was very stout. Not saying that he was like Dexter Lawrence, but I can see him being a rotational guy and actually getting some quality snaps this season. With DJ Davison on the PUP list, and what I'm seeing from Jordan Riley, again, we're not playing against starters for the most part, but Jordan Riley was really stout today. Looked very, very good against the Detroit Lions second team. And yeah, man, he's everything you want a nose tackle to be, or a backup nose tackle to be. Taking up space, hard to move off the spot, also getting penetration when he needed to get penetration. And the New York Giants were pretty solid when Detroit tried to run up the middle. They couldn't do that. They were able to get to the edges a few times, and that's still going to be a weakness for the New York Giants. We are not the best when it comes to setting the edge, even though Timon Fox did it a few times in this game. We're not the best when it comes to setting the edge, and obviously, it's not your starters. It's not Aziz. It's not Kayvon Thibodeau. It's not Jihad Ward, which is probably one of the best edge setters on the team. But, they did a decent job when it came to setting the edge. Not great, just a decent job. But getting back to the corners, Deonte Banks was solid today, too. He had a couple of pass breakups. He showed that he was physical in the run defense. Him and Trey Hawkins both not afraid to come up and make the tackle. Very physical cornerbacks. And when you have two corners that are 6 foot plus and almost 200 pounds, they're very, very physical, and that's exactly what you need them to be. Cordell Flott, before the groin injury, we don't know how serious that is yet, but Cordell Flott had a nice deflection in the end zone to prevent a touchdown. He had a pretty good performance before going out. Just thinking about it now, Micah McFadden did get some run, but mainly at linebacker, you saw a lot of Cam Brown, a lot of Carter Coughlin. and they did okay. The UDFAs, Deontay Johnson and Troy Brown, nothing to write home about. Decent play, not but we saw the second half of that game. The second half of this game was just, especially on the offensive side, just horrible. The offensive line was horrible after, the core, of Schmitz, Zudu, and Bredesen went out there. So I do want to rewind it back a little bit. The interior offensive line in this game, again, we did not play against the starters, but the interior offensive line was very stout. Very stout. John Michael Schmitz had a fantastic debut. Zudu, pretty good. Fair, pretty good. Ben Bredesen, pretty good. Fair, pretty good. But as a unit, these guys did exactly what they needed to do. I saw a pocket consistently in this game. Running game was a little bit of a struggle, but hopefully we can get better at that. But there were times where the quarterback had a clean pocket to operate from. Now, Tyrod Taylor did not have the best showing, not at all. After like the first couple of series, I was actually ready for Tommy DeVito to come in there. And I don't know what it was. It just seemed like Taylor wasn't comfortable. He had the pass deflection early. His rhythm just was off a little bit. Again, he didn't really seem comfortable. The edges were horrible. Matt Pert and Corey Cunningham, ups and downs, good, bad, and ugly when it came to the edge. Obviously it's not your starters. Pert had me fooled a little bit in these, he had a couple of decent practices where he was pretty solid, but then you get into the game and you see exactly why, Pert is where he is, fighting for a spot, fighting to be that swing tackle. And we'll see what happens next week in the dress rehearsal, because again, these guys will still get some play. But man, how the offensive line, especially after those guys got subbed out, just absolutely downhill after that. There were a couple of spurt plays. Tommy DeVito was able to make some plays with his legs. He did make a couple of pass plays, a couple quick flat passes out to the running backs, things like that. He was able to move the ball a little bit. But you can just see even he was under the stress for most of the game too. So one thing that I learned is that the depth at this offensive line is not where we needed to be. It's not where we needed to be. Obviously, we're dealing with a couple of injuries, but still, it's not where you need it to be. And again, we did not have our starting tackles. Glowinski didn't play. But just Jack Anderson, Shane Lemieux, Tyree Phillips really playing out of position. It just was bad. What's the new guy that we just picked up? I can't even remember his name now. It just looked bad and looked like a fight after that. Like everything was very hard to do, hard to move the ball. But again, we did have a little bit, or some bright spots in there too. Jamison Crowder had a couple of nice catches. David Sills actually made a couple of plays. Pimpleton had a nice first down reception. It was sporadic, throughout the game. Not exactly what you wanted to see when it came to the New York Giants. But again, that first half versus the second half was like a tale of two cities. Like a tale of two. We were watching two different games, once we made those substitutions on the offensive line. So I'm kind of upset that I didn't get a chance to see Beavers. Really wanted to see him have some type of impact in the game. Obviously, I think he'll absolutely play against the Carolina Panthers next week. Maybe he was just a healthy scratch. They're just being precautionary. They really don't want him to re-injure himself, something like that. I don't know. He practiced all training camp. He practiced most of minicamp as well. I think he should be ready to go, but we didn't see it. But again, I'm just going to name a couple of people that absolutely caught my eye today. And Jordan Riley was absolutely one of those guys. Also, Habakkuk Baldonado had some good plays. He is very, very raw, but wherever the ball was, he happened to be there too, making plays and contributing to making plays. So happy to see that. Again, Trey Hawkins, Deontay Banks, strong showing. Pinnock, Belton, strong showings. Bobby McCain showed that he's very, very physical to be a smaller guy. Not afraid to throw his body in there. Again, Cordell Flott, good play. But I do have to say, the apple of my eye in this preseason game was the interior offensive line. John Michael Schmitz, Josh Azudu, and Ben Bredesen. Those guys pretty much stole the show for me, and especially John Michael Schmitz. I just can't wait to see him going against full starters. But I love what I saw in his debut for John Michael Schmitz. Absolutely shined for me, solidified it for me. I do like also a lot of the running backs, that rotation. We saw a lot of Breda. We saw a little bit of Breda. We saw James Robinson. We saw Gray. We saw Jayshon Corbin. Corbin had a nice run where he got a chance to show what he can do a little bit. But all in all, you want to see more. You're absolutely wanting more. And what we've done in this preseason so far with training camp and things like that, I expected a little bit more, especially from the offense. Understandably so, that offensive line, after we substituted out that interior offensive line, it was, like I said, all downhill after that. So that's going to be my quick, or maybe not so quick, review of preseason week 1, the New York Giants versus Detroit Lions. Obviously, we lost the game 21-16. Nobody really cares, really. It's all about the individual performances, what these guys are doing, and hopefully making a name for themselves. But again, you still want to win at the end of the day. But I want to thank you guys for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.